My brothers and sisters, may the Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. While Jesus was speaking, an official came forward, knelt down before him and said, "My daughter has just died, but come, lay your hand on her and she will live." Jesus rose and followed him, and so did his disciples. A woman suffering hemorrhages for 12 years came up behind him and touched the tassel on his cloak. She said to herself, "If only I can touch his cloak, I shall be cured." Jesus turned around and saw her and said, "Courage, daughter, your faith has saved you." And from that hour the woman was cured. When Jesus arrived at the official's house and saw the flute players and the crowd were making a commotion, he said, "Go away, the girl is not dead but sleeping." And they ridiculed him. When the crowd was put out, he came and took her by the hand, and the little girl arose, and news of this spread throughout all that land. The Gospel of the Lord. The account from Matthew's Gospel today records two healing stories, very dramatic stories that kind of interplay with each other. And Mark also carries out the same telling of the stories, but gives much more detail than Matthew does. But Matthew at least gives us the basics, and there's a few common things that are happening here. There's first of all, on the part of the woman, the feeling and the belief and trust that if I just touch him, I'll be cured. And on the part of the official, there is the trust and the faith that if you come and touch my daughter, she will be cured. And so in both instances, it's a kind of a different perspective as to how the healing takes place. But in both places, it in fact does take place as was suggested. In the case of the woman, of course, for 12 years she's been hemorrhaging, and so she automatically would be seen to be ritually impure, and as a result of it would be considered an outcast to society. And her touching Jesus was also sort of a dangerous thing to do because it essentially made him also ritually impure. And yet she was so convinced that in faith he could cure her that she takes the chance of getting close to him and touching him. And of course, the miracle takes place. In the case of the little girl, all the people around are just saying there's no way anything can happen. She's dead. And Jesus says, no, she's just sleeping. And it's again the official, the father, who's convinced if he but comes to her, she will find new life. These healing stories that are interspersed throughout the telling of Jesus' mission and ministry are reminders to us that he continues in different ways to heal people in their lives. Perhaps it's not as dramatic today as it was in those early days, but nevertheless, it is still all-encompassing. Sometimes it's a kind of healing interiorly, where a person who has been away for a long time from faith all of a sudden gets the courage and the strength and the grace to come home again. Sometimes it's a physical healing or an emotional healing. But in each instance, there is, if there's faith on the part of the person, the conviction that God indeed will do what is best for them, even if they don't even understand what is best for them at the time. Today, then, let's be mindful and sensitive to the little healing opportunities that come to each of us in our relationships with one another, first of all, and primarily in God's relationship with each of us.